Welcome to this powerful exploration of how worship acts as the key to entering the glory of God. Over the years, many Christian preachers have spoken about the glory, but one of the most profound truths is that worship is the gateway to experiencing God's tangible presence. Today, we will dive deep into why worship is so crucial and how it opens the door to God's glory. Before we start, let us first understand what the glory of God is. The glory of God refers to His manifest presence, His overwhelming, awe-inspiring, and transformative power that fills the atmosphere. It's the weight of His majesty and the tangible sense of His holiness. The Bible is filled with instances where God's glory was revealed, often leaving people in awe and reverence. Worship, in its truest form, is the heart's response to God's worthiness. It's not just singing songs or playing music, but a lifestyle that honors and magnifies God in every way. Worship creates an environment where God's glory can be revealed. Psalm chapter 22 verse 3, saying, "But you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel." Highlights that God inhabits the praises of His people. Where there is genuine worship, there is the potential for God's glory to manifest. One of the most profound examples of worship leading to the manifestation of God's glory is found in 2 Chronicles chapter 5 verse 13 to 14. Here, during the dedication of Solomon's temple, the Bible records that as the priests and musicians worshipped in unity, the temple of the Lord was
filled with the cloud, and the priests could not perform their service because
of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled the temple of God. This was not just a symbolic act, it was a literal manifestation of God's presence, brought about through worship. Another example is found in Acts chapter 16 verse 25 and 26, where Paul and Silas, despite being in prison, began to worship God. As they sang hymns, a violent earthquake shook the foundations of the prison, and the doors flew open. This was a powerful display of God's glory responding to their worship. Worship is essentially a posture of the heart. It's about surrender, reverence, and honor. When we worship, we are aligning ourselves with God's will, acknowledging His sovereignty, and inviting His presence. Worship clears the atmosphere, drives away darkness, and makes room for the light of God's glory to shine. Reinhard Bonk, a renowned evangelist, often spoke about the connection between worship and the glory of God. He believed that worship breaks down barriers between the natural and the supernatural, allowing believers to step into a realm where God's glory can be experienced more fully. Throughout history, there have been countless testimonies of God's glory manifesting during times of worship. In the early 1900s, during the Azusa Street Revival, led by William J. Seymour, worship played a critical role in the outpouring of God's glory. Witnesses reported seeing a literal cloud of God's presence filling the room as people worshipped, leading to miracles, healings, and a deep sense of God's holiness. In more recent times, Pastor Bill Johnson of Bethel Church has often shared testimonies of how worship has ushered in the glory of God during their services. He recounts instances where the tangible presence of God was so strong that people were healed and delivered without anyone laying hands on them, simply because the atmosphere of worship was so charged with God's glory. So, how can we cultivate a lifestyle of worship that invites God's glory? First, ensure that your worship is genuine and from the heart. God looks beyond the outward expressions and listens to the heart. As Jesus said in John chapter 4 verse 23, true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Secondly, like in the time of Solomon's temple, unity in worship is powerful. When believers come together with one heart and one mind, it creates a platform for God's glory to descend. Thirdly, don't wait for everything to be perfect to worship. Paul and Silas worshipped in the midst of their darkest hour, and it led to a powerful manifestation of God's glory. worship in every season, good or bad. Lastly, approach worship with expectancy, believing that God will show up. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to God's glory. Worship is more than a ritual or a religious activity. It's the very key that unlocks the glory of God. When we engage in true worship, we are inviting God's manifest presence into our lives, our homes, and our communities. Whether in a corporate setting or in the quietness of our own space, worship creates a throne for God to inhabit and a gateway for His glory to be revealed. As we continue to explore the glory of God, let's remember that worship is our invitation to experience His presence in a deeper and more profound way. Let's make worship a priority and watch as God's glory transforms everything it touches. Thank you for watching, and may your worship lead you into new realms of God's glory.